If history is written by the winners, America didn't just win. It published the book, printed the copies, and sold them to the world. Think about it. For generations, the story we've been told, the one beaming from our screens and printed in our textbooks, is a blockbuster epic. It's a tale of rugged individuals, of manifest destiny, of a nation pulling itself up by its bootstraps to become a shining city on a hill. It's a history that feels less like a documentary and more like a Hollywood production, complete with heroes, villains, and a guaranteed happy ending. This is History, the American edition, a simplified, sanitized, and incredibly powerful narrative that has shaped not only how Americans see themselves, but how the world sees America. But what happens when you look at the director's cut? What happens when you read the scenes left on the cutting room floor? Today, we're peeling back the glossy cover of this best-selling story to uncover the complex, messy, and often contradictory truths that lie beneath. This isn't about tearing down a nation. It's about understanding how its most powerful story was built and why it's starting to crumble. Let's start with Act 1, the myth of the hero. This is the story we all know and love. It's the American dream, packaged and sold as a universal truth. The narrative is simple. With enough grit and determination, anyone can succeed. This idea is the bedrock of American identity. We see it in movies about underdog sports teams, in biographies of self-made billionaires, and in the political speeches that echo through our history. The cowboy, the astronaut, the inventor in his garage. These aren't just characters. They are archetypes of the American spirit. This narrative is incredibly appealing because it's empowering. It tells us that our destiny is in our own hands. It paints American history as a triumphant march of progress, a relentless journey from the Mayflower to the moon landing, from the Declaration of Independence to the digital age. In this version, America is the protagonist, always on the right side of history, a beacon of freedom and democracy for the entire world. It's a clean, compelling story. And for a long time, it was the only story in town. The problem is, it's not the whole story. It's a highlight reel. And like any highlight reel, it leaves out the fumbles, the penalties, and the ugly losses. This brings us to Act 2, the shadow of truth. Every great story has a shadow, a darker side that complicates the hero's journey. For America, that shadow is vast and deep. The glorious expansion westward, framed as manifest destiny, conveniently glosses over the brutal displacement and genocide of Native American populations. The Founding Fathers, revered as demigods of liberty, were also men who owned other human beings. The very foundation of the nation's early economy was built on the backs of enslaved people. A truth so dark, it's often relegated to a single chapter in the history books before we quickly move on to the more inspiring parts. Then there's the 20th century. The Cold War wasn't just a standoff of missiles and armies. It was a war of narratives. America positioned itself as the leader of the free world, a noble defender against the evils of communism. To support this story, a massive propaganda machine went into overdrive. Anything that contradicted this narrative was suppressed. We conveniently forgot about the democratically elected governments in Latin America and the Middle East that were overthrown with American support simply because they didn't align with U.S. economic or political interests. History was not just written, it was actively curated. Events were framed, facts were selected, and entire perspectives were erased to maintain the image of America as the flawless global hero. This selective memory created a historical echo chamber, where the heroic myth was reinforced and the inconvenient truths were whispered, if they were spoken at all. But now, we're living in Act 3, the new revolution of truth. The walls of that echo chamber are starting to crack, and it's largely because of one thing: the internet. For the first time in history, the gatekeepers of information have lost their monopoly. The official narrative, once broadcast from a few powerful sources, is now competing with a billion different voices. A person with a smartphone in another country can share their perspective, their history, their family's story of how American foreign policy affected their lives. Descendants of marginalized communities can now publish their own histories, bypassing the traditional publishers who ignored them for centuries. Digital archives are making primary sources, the raw, unfiltered stuff of history, accessible to everyone. You no longer need a university library card to read a declassified CIA document or a slave's personal testimony. This unprecedented access is creating a global awakening. People are connecting the dots, comparing the official story with the mountains of evidence that tell a different tale. We're realizing that history isn't a single, straight line, but a tangled, multifaceted web of competing experiences. The American-centric view of the world is being challenged not out of malice, but out of a collective hunger for a more complete and honest picture of our shared past. This isn't about replacing one myth with another. It's not about saying America is a villain instead of a hero. The world is more complicated than that. It's about embracing complexity. It's about understanding that a nation can be a symbol of hope and a source of oppression at the same time. It's about acknowledging that progress is often messy and paved with contradictions. The rewriting of history isn't a destruction of the past, it's a restoration. It's like finding the missing pages of a book you thought you knew by heart. Suddenly, the characters are deeper, their motivations are clearer, and the story is infinitely more interesting and true. We are moving from a history written in black and white to one that is finally being rendered in full, vibrant, and sometimes painful color. This new chapter is still being written, not by a handful of winners, but by all of us. So what does this mean for the future? It means history is no longer a static subject we memorize in school. It's a dynamic, ongoing conversation that we are all a part of. We have a responsibility to be critical consumers of information, to question the stories we're told, and to seek out the voices that have been silenced. History isn't just about what happened, it's about what survives. The stories that survive shape our identity, our values, and the world we build for the next generation. So let's make sure truth survives. Let's make sure that empathy, context, and the full, complicated human story are the things that endure. Thank you for joining this exploration. If you believe in digging deeper and challenging old narratives, hit that subscribe button, because we're rewriting the past, one story at a time.